Hey guys, and welcome to this episode of Anime Duo. I'm Karen Morris, I'm joined by Jack Thomas, and today we're reviewing My Little Monster.
Yeah, we are.
So Jack, what did you think of the plot of My Little Monster? The first 3 episodes we were supposed to watch. Now, I've watched this anime multiple times, and you told me that you watched a bit more than the first 3 episodes.
I almost finished it. I got like 2 or 3 left.
But let's just talk about the first 3 episodes. How did you feel about the setup of this anime?
The setup? I watched the first episode.
Yeah?
I liked it.
You liked it? That's good.
It didn't really hit home until I watched the second
You were like,
one.
why is this Cameron's favourite anime?
I was like, what's going on, Cam? This alright?
You got Kids on a Slope,
Kids on a Slope,
Samurai Champloo,
Bebop.
Bebop. Why is this one all beats them all for Cameron Morris?
Well, then I watched the second episode.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, man. This show. Sublime.
What did you like about it? What?
I don't know, man. It was just really personal.
I can tell you what stood out to me the first time I watched it. Within the first 2 episodes, it's the characters are unique.
Yeah,
Like
very much.
it's set up in all. If like you were to
Yes.
show a poster of it to someone, they'd be like, "Oh, that's just a generic anime."
They are so different to the norm of characters. They're very flawed.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
the flaws are very prominent.
Also, I think, unlike most romantic animes, especially the ones set in school, there isn't one of them that is flawed and the other one
Yeah, they
that
both.
isn't.
Yeah. For
Usually,
different
there's like
reasons
there's like a perfect one, and they're usually not the main character. The
Yeah,
main
yeah.
character is the flawed one.
too. And has to, develop for that reason. But with this, they both have flaws from different sides of the fence. I felt that was really. I don't know. It was just really fresh.
It was definitely like a fresh take on the generic high school
Yeah.
anime.
Yeah. very much.
But it didn't feel like it was going for that. It didn't feel like, oh, let's make an anime that's a fresh take on the generic high school anime. It just felt like, it didn't even feel like an anime sometimes. I mean, it did. Sometimes very anime like, but
Yeah.
sometimes like the real moments, the relationship stuff,
Yeah,
it just
man.
felt really real. Like it felt like
Yeah.
I've been in that situation
Yeah.
before.
Total.
Especially,
Definitely.
I will say, especially within the second episode, you
Yeah.
really get a sense of like
Oh.
the writers know how to write people interacting with each other, because there's this awkward thing where it's just like I want to say the thing I want to say, but it's hard to say it.
Yeah.
And in most animes, it's like, oh, I'm too embarrassed,
Yeah.
but it's like the reasons they can't say it feel real.
Yeah,
it's
of
like
course.
I don't want to be
And-
rejected,
and,
you know.
yeah.
I don't. I can't. I'd rather live not knowing.
It ties into insecurities and things, and I think the characters definitely have very vivid insecurities about
Yeah.
certain aspects by the way they are. They don't say it, but it's so many things that are like slightly point to it. You build your image, like the way characters' backstory is when you go in later on,
Yeah.
and to the way Miti was
Shizuku is the main woman.
where she was like always kept to herself and studied,
Yeah.
And obviously she's going to be insecure about socializing with people then and having
There's
friends.
I think the cool thing that happens is like you get these like monologues, which are in a lot of anime.
Yeah, yeah.
But instead of like the generic, like they repeat stuff a lot in anime.
yeah,
like
it's kind of like a confusion.
Yeah.
The way they say things.
it's like they're trying to figure it out, and when they say it, you're hearing their initial thoughts.
yeah, and it's like their first.
Yeah, like there's a bit where Haru says, "Have you ever felt so lonely that you don't feel anything anymore?"
Yeah, he's talking about like depression and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that, yeah.
And it's such like a real statement. It's something that like you
Yeah.
hear like a normal person say. So
And
it's
then
crazy.
She says like, because obviously he's referring to her,
Yeah,
and then she says his eyes looked really blank.
yeah, like he was looking past her.
Yeah, and like not really seeing the connection.
Yeah.
Really, but like infatuation.
Yeah.
I suppose and
It
that
was-
was really pretty real.
Yeah,
I
it was
like that.
interesting because it's not like when he's talking about that, you think he's like talking about, oh, we're in love now, but he's talking about himself. He just needs someone to say
and
that
it's,
to.
it's a selfish thing,
Yeah.
It's just it's interesting.
I'm starting to realize that most of this is character stuff. So should we cut this a bit short and jump into
Yeah.
the characters?
Do it, man.
All right, so we're going to talk about characters now. Right, so even though a plot we talked about mostly characters, let's really dive
Yeah,
into the characters here because
alright.
this anime, much
getting
like
there.
most like romantic animes, it's really just about the characters.
Oh
and their
yeah,
lives.
very much. Very much.
So what did you think of arguably the main character of Shizuku?
I really liked her. I thought she was very, I don't know, I just fell in love with her mannerisms and stuff and the way she is and how cold she is to people. It was really interesting.
Yeah, you really get a sense with the story about the rabbit at the beginning, where she's like, the rabbit dies, and all the her classmates, when she's a little girl, all the rabbit dies, all the classmates are so sad, and she's like, I'm gonna go, because I got shit to do, so you guys, you know, and then they start like calling her dry ice and stuff, but she's like, I didn't care that the rabbit died.
Yeah, and I don't know, just the way she is with people too. You know, I think that's one of the best things the show does, is the way characters interact with other characters too. You know, the way they speak about other characters.
It's very honest.
Yeah, and you get such a complexity to it too. You know, because it's like having friends. You know, like You know.
I think that the cool thing about Shizuku's character though, is like it's kind of tragic in a way, because if she hadn't have met Haru, she was completely fine with living this antisocial life. She never felt sad about it like Haru did.
That's all she known, you know.
Yeah, and it's like, because of Haru dragging her into it, she starts experiencing all these things and stuff. And there's the one point where she's just like, maybe I should have just stayed like an antisocial person because it's less difficult, you know?
Yeah, all this new.
But she definitely has like a lot of, like you said at the beginning, she has a lot of flaws that she doesn't realize, you know.
And they're such real flaws too, you know. And you know, it's just so like I've seen this before with people.
Yeah, and it's cool because you've seen it before with a lot of people, but you don't see it a lot in fiction.
Yeah,
which is refreshing because it's like quite relatable. It's
quite like a surface level.
Yeah.
Of complexity, you know. But with this show, I find I don't know. It's clever.
Yeah.
Clever.
We're gonna move to my favorite character, which is Haru. Now, the reason Haru's my favorite character is because even though he's insanely wacky, and he's arguably the comic relief of the show, he's also probably the most complex of all the characters.
He's super cool. Like, I like the I like his sort of he doesn't know how to deal with situations.
Well, he's not running.
He fucking just punches people and freaks
well,
out.
The punches people. Oh, my favorite thing that he does, the running joke that he does a couple of times in the show, is when he's presented with a situation that he doesn't understand and he doesn't know how to deal with, he just jumps out the window, and it doesn't matter what story he's on. Because there's one bit where he's on the second floor of a building, he jumps out the window, but then there's another where he's on like the top floor of like a skyscraper, and you're just like, it sums up his character so much that he's just like, I don't know how to deal with the situation, so I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
He's such a complex character, though, in that, like, he says things that are so honest.
Yeah, I love it.
Like, he says things that are so honest, and then he gets embarrassed that he's like, I gotta go back to being wacky, you know?
Yeah.
It's so cool.
But he doesn't get that embarrassment with, he doesn't get that embarrassment until later on with Shizuku. And, I don't know, like how honest he is just the best way to be with people. And it's just like, I know what you think.
Well, I don't know if it's the best way to be, because like that's the thing, like you begin the show, you're like, he's so honest, it's so cool, like he says what he thinks all the time, and you're like, if more people were like this, but then you realise that no, that doesn't work, because sometimes he thinks things that shouldn't be said out loud. Right. It's just so, like, he's so complex in the sense that he has no boundaries. And it's funny sometimes, but it's also tragic other times, because you're like...
Yeah, of course. There's no leash, you know? Can't hold back.
So it's pretty... It's awesome in the way that you have these characters that are really real.
Yeah.
But then you have these characters that kind of like have almost unrealistic... kind of flaws, which so you have the character. I'm not sure her name. It's the only character I don't really know. Is the girl.
The girl comes in,
and kind of her thing is that she's so pretty or infatuating that she's never been able to make friends with anyone because the boys all fancy her and the girls all like are jealous of her. And it's weird because it doesn't seem like a realistic problem, but I guess it could be.
Oh yeah,
you could have that.
It's like the curse of always wanting someone in your pants.
Yeah.
All the time.
It's like, well, because the whole thing is like, she clearly just wants friends.
Yeah.
And she can't have that.
Yeah.
But it's weird because...
It's either envy or lust, you know, and then it's...
It's weird because it's like, it's Haru and Shizuku are friendly with her because they don't have that thing where they're infatuated with her because they're respectful. As much as Haru seems crazy, those two are respectful, and so is Saya-san, the other guy, who's
Yeah.
friends with her.
Yeah.
But it's weird that it took her to this point in her life to find respectful people.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, that's a bit unrealistic,
Yeah.
that it took her all this time to
Yeah.
finally find people who were just decent human beings.
Yeah, that's true.
But it is an interesting character arc, be it a bit unrealistic.
Well, the main focus is the main two, you know.
Yeah.
And everything else is just kind of a bit of something on top.
Well, I found all the other stuff with her really interesting. I like the idea
I
that...
like the club she was going to.
Yeah.
that was cool.
I like the idea that Haru is obsessed with this idea that you can just get friends online.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, take me with you. Yeah. Funny.
There's not much we can say about Seiya-san yet because we've only watched 3 episodes and he doesn't have much of a big part. So I think we'll go on to the audios and visuals.
Let's do it.
Right, so the animation. Now, usually with these types of shows,
Yeah.
they don't put a lot of effort into the animation.
Yeah, she was nice in this one.
I did. I think it was a cool, consistent style. You know,
like that.
I think it was. I mean, it's. I have to give most of the credit to the manga artist because
You read the manga?
I have read the manga all the way
Yeah?
through.
Is it better or...?
Well, it's not necessarily bad. I think this looks better because it's more colourful, obviously,
Right,
because
right.
it's black and white.
Yeah.
But they do the thing that they do in some animes where they just straight up take his art. They don't do much different to it because the art is so perfect for the characters that they kind of look just like they do in the manga. So the character design is all from the manga, and I love the design. I love the fact that Shizuku isn't like traditionally, you know, good looking. I love the fact that like Haru isn't really traditionally good. I mean, like if he dressed well, he would, but he dresses kind of like a bum as well. He's got like all of those. So it feels like a real relationship as opposed to like in some animes where
that's a very good point.
you know, and it makes sense that she dresses this way and she doesn't really, you know, do much because
I think
she doesn't care.
She's got a really cute design, I think.
Yeah. As opposed to like, you know, and it contrasts her friend as well, who, you know, is very anime in the sense that she's got the big hair and, you know, the figure.
It's a very cute design, but it's not a, like traditional anime cute. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's, like,
I understand what you
It's
mean.
kind of subtle.
I think that the my favorite thing about the animation in this episode is all the stuff they do with Haru. Well, so there's one bit where he really wants to go to this mocha place to eat food.
Oh, okay.
Right, and like
right.
he's so he's like saying mocha 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 mocha. He just keeps repeating it, and as he says it, well, there's not a camera, but just say there's a camera. The camera pans in and it gets closer and closer, and the background starts to fade away and just becomes this like blue pattern, and it's like he's slowly losing his mind. And I love all the stuff they do with that, and like all the the hyper realism and stuff. Like you know when he beats all those people up before the anime even starts, and they flash back to him like beating those upperclassmen up, all the third years.
Oh yeah.
The reason he got kicked out of school at the beginning. There's still an imprint of the guy that he threw against the wall on the wall, and it's like it's not blood. It's nothing. It's never explained.
Isn't it? It's weird. Yeah.
So I love all the stuff they do with
I
that.
didn't realize what that was because you see it in further episodes too. If they're in the same spot, it's just a shadow on the wall. I was like, what's that to do with? All right, yeah, that's cool.
And one of the other cool things the animation does as well is that they put characters in that are going to be important in future episodes. Early on. Yeah. Like you'll just see them in the background and they'll just be chilling. Now, sometimes they'll even say stuff.
It makes them feel like they're already a part of the universe of the show then, you know. And
especially when like they become such big parts. You're like, where were these people?
Yeah. And then you like watch it again, you're like, oh, they're there.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like his friends too.
Oh, the dickheads.
They're quite good.
Well, again, like I love the hyperrealism of the entire thing, like how he can just pick people up and toss them at will. Like so cool. Even though it's such a real story, it's not a real world, you know.
Yeah, it's quite and it just adds to the character. You know what I mean? And that's clever. Yeah, I like the style. The style was really good.
The color as well is really good.
The color, I think,
Now, the one thing that really got me in this anime a lot is the music. Like, a lot of the music doesn't stand out in the sense that it's just like, oh, okay, I see where they put that there. But there's one song, which is, I don't know what it's called, but I call it the Shizuku and Haru theme, that always plays at, like, really pivotal moments in their relationship.
Right.
Like, it usually plays when they're on the steps.
Oh, okay.
You know, the steps that they always have conversations on, and it gets me in my stomach. Like, whenever it plays, I'm like, shit's about to go down! Like, I don't know, it's really nice, and it's so subtle.
Yeah.
That it's
I'll
like...
I'll keep an eye out for that.
Because when he plays, like, I got it on my iTunes, and when it plays, I feel the feelings, even though I'm not watching it anymore. It's just like, oh man, I got it.
That's cool.
What did the music stick out to you, do you think?
Not a whole lot. I like the opening.
Yeah.
The opening's really good. And the outro, really good too.
Yeah, the outro's weird. Like, they sometimes don't play it.
Yeah. The style of them both, the actual animation too, is very good.
I think it's really cool, like, the running theme of the chain collar.
Yeah.
Like, that's really cool, because it's like that thing of, like, he's completely obsessed with it all the time,
Yeah,
so she
it's
has
like-
that chain collar on him.
Yeah. It's like that kind of, like, the show itself doesn't have the vivid symbolism.
No.
It's quite subtle and done through the characters rather than just,
Showing
obscured.
you.
But in the opening, it's the most blatant thing
Yeah.
to follow. And I
Yeah.
like it. It's interesting.
Yeah, so I think we're going to go to overall now.
Let's do it.
So,
Yes.
Jack Thomas, overall thoughts and a score for this anime, My Little Monster.
Overall thoughts. Waste the time. 0.2. Best show ever. 100 out of 10. Alright. I think. Oh man. I just think the characterization and the way they integrate the story, because the story is never really the main. You know, like the stuff where you loosely find out the end of episode 3 with Haru's brother coming back.
Yeah,
It's interesting.
Yuzan, yeah, it's interesting. There's
But-
also like most of the story is just silly stuff.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
The entire plot of the third episodes is they need to get a cage for the chicken.
Oh yeah, I forgot about it. Yeah.
Like that's not to the
Yeah.
forefront. Like you forget that
No,
that's
exactly.
the plot.
And it's just their relationship in these like kind of like exaggerated life scenarios and how they develop in a very realistic sense because of it. And I thought it was very clever and very unique. And I love the two main characters. I think they are so well done.
Yeah.
And it's just a nice show to watch. It's not heavy. It is heavy when you get into it. But
Yeah,
But it's not. You don't have to put yourself out and be like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna watch this show. You can kind of put it on and just be like, yeah.
Yeah, you
watch
can.
it
I think
lightly.
the best thing about it, and the reason I think I love it so much is because it can be that show. It can be the show you think about a lot, and you realize the symbolism, like with the intro, all the symbolism
Yeah.
and stuff, and you realize the character stuff. But you can also watch it and be like, ha! There's that chicken, and they need to find a coop for the chicken,
and it's
and they make
just-
a communist-looking rock and roll coop. It's like it
Yeah.
can be the both things, you know.
and the blend is so nice, you know, because you watch it and you laugh. It's funny.
Yeah, and not to get
then-
too philosophical, but that's kind of what a relationship is like, you know? It can be serious, but it can also be this wacky thing, you know, that the show
Yeah,
kind
man.
of
It's nice.
makes. Let's get deep. So what are you giving this score?
All right, I'm gonna give this show. I give this show an 8.5
8.5.
out of 10.
8.5. Now, we don't usually do 2 points, so
I've done a
I'm
point
going to round
before.
it down to an 8. But yeah, if you want to be
it's not quite a 9,
8.5...
but it's not quite an 8. Get it in the middle. No, I don't think it's okay. 8.
Yeah.
It's not a 9 for me,
Okay.
but I really enjoyed it. I haven't finished it yet, so maybe my score will change by the end. But,
It probably will, because you're frustrated at the end.
Oh,
It was-
I have a friend who watched it too, and she said that she was frustrated at the end.
Well, we're supposed to review the beginning, and the
Right,
beginning
right.
I would give a 10. Right, I love this anime so much, and even with the end, I still love it so much. But the ending is very, for those of you who get invested and want to watch more than the 3 episodes,
Right,
the ending
right.
is very like
Okay.
open-ended,
Right,
which
right.
it's like Kids on a Slope, where it's good but also very destroying.
Yeah.
But like I think that I give this a 10. It's one of my favorite
10
animes of all time. Maybe I'm an
Nice.
optimist. Now, do you want to find out what we're gonna watch next time?
Yeah.
Okay, so when we were thinking of what to do for next month, Jack Morris, our producer who's sitting over there, said, I want you to do a bad anime because it's a lot more fun when you guys get angry, especially you, Jack, because you get
Especially
very
me?
angry.
I don't get angry. What are you
So
talking about?
I was like, well, what bad anime? Like, we haven't seen any bad animes, really, except for the ones we've reviewed. And then he said, I'm going to Google worst anime ever.
Yep.
So now we're going to watch the first episode of an anime, apparently, called Ghost Stories.
Yeah, sounds good.
Which is supposed to be horrible.
Sounds awesome. Can't wait.
I'm excited,
Can't
but I'm not excited as well. So we're going to watch the first episode of Ghost Stories.
Ghost stories.
Do you want to watch the dub as well? Is there a dub?
Let's watch the dub.
We'll watch the English dub as well, just to make it even worse. If there's any fans of ghost stories, be sure to tune in next month for Anime Duo where we watch that. But until then, I've been Cameron Morris.
I've been Jack Thomas.
And you've been watching Anime Duo.